How's it going, everyone, and welcome to another Flesh and Blood video here on both Red Zone Rogue and potentially DM Armada, depending on which perspective you are watching from. And if you are not watching from my channel, Red Zone Rogue, then definitely go check out DM Armada over here in this corner, the way that I'm pointing, at least on my screen. Today, we are going to be talking about Tales of ARIA, and I am incredibly excited to talk about this. We're just going to kind of like, podcasty style, talk about a lot of different topics. We're going to talk about maybe classes, characters, lore, just a whole bunch of stuff, because I am really, really excited for this set. Don't get me wrong, I loved Monarch, but this is like really my speed. I love like the mysticalness, and I love I just love the setting and the colors and everything. It's so sweet. And I think my friend here also feels very similarly. And if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yes.
For those who don't know, go for it.
Hello. I am Steven, a.k.a. DM Armada, a.k.a. friend of the channel, Red Zone Rogue. Friend of the channel. It's confirmed. It's like verified. It's kind of like what they do on Twitter, except it's only with Red Zone Rogue, which means it's extra exclusive. So
I'll have to get you like a red. I'll have to get you like a red check mark or something.
There you go. That's what it is. I do card game stuff over on youtube.com/DMArmada, and I hang out with Kel and we play games. And he beats me and I beat him, and we all have a good laugh. That's what we do.
Pretty close.
Today we're going to talk about Tales of ARIA, and I'm really excited to talk about it too, because I am just like you. I love the aesthetic of ARIA, and I like the general like fantasy flavor more so than I do the light versus shadow thing. Not that I didn't like that, because I bought way too much of it. It's awesome, but I am so pumped to get into ARIA because I think it's a really cool place. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's like. So like there's the whole light versus shadow thing with Monarch, and that's cool and all, but it doesn't have the same kind of sense of mystery that I think ARIA has. There's like this sense of wonder and mystery. Like there's a bunch of like magical things and just kind of like ancient things you don't know about. I don't know, it's just really, really cool. Like a lot of the origins of whatever Fiendel is comes from ARIA, and just a lot of really, really cool stuff in Flesh and Blood originates from there. So it's really, really exciting. So where would you like to start? I think a lot of people immediately want to talk about like classes, because we saw that artwork and everyone's like, it's this class. And a lot of people have, immediate like reactions to that, which class they think it's going to be. So let's just talk about that a little bit. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about like what classes we think could be in the set. I think we will probably have very similar ideas. But personally, I think that character is a shoo-in for a ranger. I mean, she has a bow. I mean, that's my argument. She has a bow, so she's a ranger. I know some other people think like illusionist and stuff, but I think it's a ranger, man. Like, not only that, I think there's a specific kind of ranger, but we can get to that maybe a little bit later.
I think she's an elemental guardian.
Guardian.
I'm just kidding. I think she's a ranger. She's a ranger.
Yeah, man. She does, man. She's got very ranger-y vibes, though.
Yes.
She looks like a different kind of ranger, right? I would be willing to bet, depending on what the talent is, like just looking at her weapon, it looks like, it's got electricity coming off of it. They mentioned a place called Volthaven in that little blurb.
Yeah.
And they said that people from Volthaven care about the Great Aurora, which also looks to be what's in the background of this character. So given those two things, it's safe to assume that this character is from Volthaven. And if this character is from Volthaven, she probably has some sort of lightning-y talent. Though I don't necessarily think it's exactly lightning. I think lightning is a good guess, but I have another guess for that too.
Okay, I will put a pause on your assumption that what is behind her is the Great Aurora, because technically the flow appears that way in places that it's really strong. So it could be the Great Aurora, and honestly, the Great Aurora is probably just a surname or whatever you want to call it, just a fancy name for the flow, and it appearing in a specific spot and people worshiping it in that spot. Nevertheless, doesn't really kind of delineate where she's located so much, because the flow is everywhere in ARIA, because that's kind of how ARIA exists, is with the flow. Everything's created in ARIA from the flow, so it's everywhere, and it's where she is too.
I'll be honest. The flow isn't the best name, for many for many reasons.
I didn't
Because
make it. I'm just using it.
the
That's all I'm
the
saying.
the flow can refer to a lot of other things. So if they changed it to the Great Aurora, I would not be surprised if like the Great Aurora was like what folks called it, like who lived in Aria.
Yeah, I kind of like the flow, even though I understand where you're coming from. I still kind of dig just the simplicity of it. The Great Aurora is like a little pretentious. It feels like someone just said it and like adjusted their top hat, their monocle, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it did say were they scholars from Volthaven or something like that.
Yeah,
So
something
man,
like that.
maybe they are a little uppity. So yeah, I think Ranger is a pretty slam dunk for that character. I mean, they could be something else technically, but I think it would be weird if they were like an illusionist and they had a bow. It'd be weird. It'd just be kind of weird. I mean, they could,
I mean,
but it'd be
Illusionist
weird.
has spears already.
That's true, but we don't actually have a character that has spears either. I think it'd make
That's a good
Azalea
point.
very
That's a good point.
it'd make Azalea very sad if illusionist got a better bow than she did.
That would be so up Azalea's alley. It'd be like so Ranger centric. It's like, hey, we're gonna give you an entire set. We're gonna give you a full bunch of class cards, and the bow for the illusionist is better than yours. That would be funny.
Or it's not even there's not even, or if there's no ranger at all, it's just like an illusionist and they just have a bow, like just they randomly just have a bow, and it's like, sorry ranger players, illusionist gets the bow this
just
time.
making a bow. There it is.
Yeah, cool. So we both agree more or less on ranger.
I agree. Yes, I think Ranger is in the set.
Yeah, man, it's got to be. If it's not, I won't be sad, but I won't be disappointed either. But I really would like a ranger. I mean, come on.
I would be both sad and disappointed if Ranger is not. If Ranger's not a class in this one, I would be both sad and disappointed.
There's also other evidence too that I have, but it's not really evidence. It's James White talked about in
Right.
I can't remember what it was. It was the like store conference thingy. I can't remember exactly what it's called. But talked about how in the next set there will be stuff that people have wanted for a while and are clamoring for.
He
And
said
I
he
think
even said they're going to give support to much maligned or much beloved classes, much maligned and beloved.
Yeah.
He said it some way like that. I'm paraphrasing, but I mean, if you're thinking of both beloved and maligned classes, well, then Ranger's on the top of the list, right?
Yeah, I immediately thought of Ranger for that. So
Right.
this makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Okay, so what other classes do you think that are going to be in the set? Like,
Well,
this doesn't have to be any official predictions. Just kind of like, let's just talk about it and throw out some stuff because I have some ideas. I think they're the easy ideas. My ideas are like
Guardian's easy.
Guardian, Bard, and Illusionist. So Ranger, Guardian, Bard, and Illusionist are
Okay,
the
you're
easy
putting
ones for me.
Bard.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I'm taking into account the lore of the setting. So we know Aria is very bardic. There's bards, songs, festivals, like it's very bardic, and we know we saw Bard also in the lore book as a potential class, and then also illusions are mentioned in the lore book for Aria, and then Guardian. So those are like the easy ones, right? Those are all classes mentioned in the lore book in regards to Aria. So
Correct.
I believe those are the easy guesses for the set. Though that's assuming that every class is from Aria, but I don't know. I don't really know what if it's all going to be Aria or something else. What do you think?
Well, I think Illusionist is the 50-50 for me because they could give more Illusionist cards, or they could not. But it does make sense. Like it's kind of where Illusionists are from in a way, and it makes a ton of sense for Illusionist to be in the set. But in doing so, you're basically saying Guardian and Illusionist and Ranger are all claimed. So that leaves just one pivot. So the question is, do they introduce yet another new class, or do they put Wizard? And they probably put Wizard. I think they put Wizard.
Wizard is another one that a lot of folks were guessing in my comment section. I think if they're gonna ever put Bard in a set, now is the time. Like, I mean, it could obviously be in like a supplemental set or something in the future, but like this is like the most no-brainer I can think of. Like this the most obvious region a bard could be
Sure. Yeah.
in Flesh and Blood. I mean, there could just be never any bards. Like that could also be a thing.
There could
Like
be
they could
never
just
any
obviously,
bards. They could leave
yeah.
bard as a subtype class, kind of like they do with merchant or like they do with shapeshifter. They
Yeah,
could
that's what I meant.
introduce. You're right.
Yeah.
They could introduce bard in a later set down the line because they say, "Hey, let's introduce a new class later so that we can support old classes that people love now." And I think that's probably the wiser choice. But then again, I haven't been planning it for 7 years. So I can't speak to what they have planned after this year. And, maybe they do a supplemental set and they introduce basically like just a boatload of cards for Wizards. So they said, hey, we're going to do this for that. So we can just drop a new class right now. Nevertheless, I do think Bard makes a ton of sense to be an ARIA. I totally agree with you. It is the number one place for it to be because of how the lore spells out how everyone is living a carefree lifestyle because they don't have to work for their food and for their livelihoods. So it's the place to put Bard. It's just, are they going to put it in the set that's all about ARIA, or are they going to wait and just say, hey, this is from the region of ARIA later down the line? So
I guess it also determines on how like fleshed out they want the class to be. Like you said, if it's going to be more of a supplemental class or a fully fledged class, it'd be very interesting to have a fully fledged Bard class. I agree with you what you said about Illusionist too. I think it makes sense mechanically because there are not very many generic Illusionist cards right now.
Right.
The pool is like super small, so it makes a lot of sense to have another Illusionist to just add on to that. So that gives Prism more stuff and also gives the new character, or if they have one, more stuff too. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, you have Phantasmify, you have Spears, you have Enigma Chimera, and
you have the one that makes tokens, Prismatic Shield.
Prismatic Shield. I think that's it, right?
And I think that's it. I can't think of another one.
Yeah, it's 4 cards.
Yeah, so it's like very small. It's very small.
Phantasmal
so it does make
I guess that counts. You can't forget that
one.
Yeah,
the equipment. Yeah. So it does make sense mechanically, just to put Illusionist here. I think it would fit in the set, and I think it wouldn't hurt, competitive play or anything. It would just add more stuff for Illusionist, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess it really depends on like what classes I solidify on. Like I said, I haven't like 100% like made my predictions yet, but a lot of it's determined on if I think all of the heroes are going to be only from ARIA. Because
what's the opposite? What's the alternative?
Well, it could be something like Monarch, where you have 2 opposing forces. So instead of just everyone being happy and holding hands in ARIA, you could have an opposing force, like maybe an invading force or something that somehow got past the shields and stuff.
Sure.
Maybe some people from Volcor, maybe someone something like that could be a thing, or they could just all be from ARIA and have their own internal conflict.
Sure.
But it'd be weird to only have 1 talent in the set, unless there's 2 talents in ARIA, which
I
could
don't
also
think
be
so.
a thing.
I think it would be okay. It makes some sense too because if you have 1 talent in the set, then draft and sealed become a lot more kind of level. Everybody has access to the same generic card pool and the same talent card pool, and because of that, you have a lot more flexibility. And they, from a perspective of design, could design a card that's flexible in all 4 classes for different reasons, which could be kind of interesting.
It just seems, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. But it just seems weird to me to have both generic cards and then only 1 talent in the set, where if you're playing it just for draft or sealed, they're literally the same thing. Like they're not actually any different.
Except
like,
in the expanded card pool of the entire game, then it does delineate out.
Yeah. But yeah, and once again, I'm saying stuff that it's like, James also said that this was their favorite set for draft and sealed. So whatever that means. I think people who like draft and sealed like somewhat of a challenge. So I don't know. I would guess there's 2 talents. That would be my guess. 1 talent could totally be a thing.
I think there's 2 as well. I could see 2. And the way they could do it, if it's all just based on ARIA, is that they focus on one portion of ARIA and the talent that comes from there, which could be 1 elemental focus, and then they focus on the other side of ARIA, and another elemental focus. And that's kind of, I don't want to say that's hinted at in the little solicits blurb that was in the kind of released spoiler, because it's not. I mean, they just mention town names or city names, but one of them is like Volthaven, and the other one sounds like it's south, in a jungle, like a very foresty jungle area.
They mentioned 3 places.
They did, yeah. I just don't recall them off the top of my head. I probably should have that up right now. Let's see.
One of them is Volthaven. The other one is Candlehold, I think.
Right.
And then the other one is like Isengard.
Leafville.
Not Isengard.
Isengard Leafville.
It's something similar to like Eisen something. I assume it has to do with Eisen's Peak, but I have it on my.
I probably have it on my desktop too.
I saved it. I saved it to my phone. Okay. So yeah, Candlehold, Eisenloft. So Eisenloft from their endless winter slumber. So Eisenloft, wintry kind of area.
Sure.
The Wardens of Candlehold sharpen their thorns with the blossoming undergrowth. So
That's
very like
thorns,
earthy
undergrowth.
Plants.
Yep.
Yeah. And then the prophets of Volthaven set their sights on the future painted by the Great Aurora. It's good to know that they did not capitalize Great Aurora. It is not a proper name. I don't know if that's relevant, but they didn't capitalize it in the little blurb. So yeah, we have 3 distinct areas, which is very interesting. If there was only 2 areas, you could easily be like, oh, these are the 2 areas that they're going to be focusing on. But there's 3.
You know, since you read it out loud, the prophets of Volthaven fix their eyes on the future. Is that what you said?
Yeah, it says the prophets of Volthaven fix their eyes on a future that has to do with the Great Aurora. Hold on, I closed the thing already.
There's a lot of references
painted by the Great Aurora.
Sure. There's a lot of references in the lore book to, like soothsayers, seers, oracles, fortune tellers, things like that. Maybe that's a hint as to what we might see a class of. Maybe it's not bards so much as it is like a soothsayer class, or a dreamer, which is someone who like falls into a trance and sees the future.
So that is something that I've thought about, not specifically that, but it reminds me. Okay, so this is like a thing I've just thought about in general about Flesh and Blood. Do you think, and it sounds like you do, they will make a class that, so you're talking about like a soothsayer and like a seer or something like that. We already have cards that are generic that kind of do that, like
opt mechanics.
Yeah. So like, I was really thinking about that kind of stuff. Like, oh, does this rule out certain classes if like generic cards can do it? Because like, why would you have it as a generic card if you're gonna make it into a class?
Yeah, like Whisper of the Oracle. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking of.
And honestly, they could just say Oracle's a class, and then you're like more incentivized to play Whisper of the Oracle, which is fair, which is really
or fun. Back to what you said, it could be a wizard, because wizards can be very oracle-y.
Right.
So, yeah.
They could just call it Dream Wizard. Dream Wizard is Dream is the talent or something.
Oh, geez, Dream. Yeah. That's got some heavy like World of Warcraft stuff. Because of the Emerald Dream and World of Warcraft, and
I could see them doing
all
that
kind of stuff.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
Yeah, I think wizards are pretty good. Like, I think there's a good chance wizard could be in the set. I mean, also it could just be something completely out of nowhere, like we had with Monarch.
Right.
Like we just had brute out of freaking nowhere. So it could be definitely just like, here's a ninja or whatever. Like, lightning.
Okay, well let's do that. Let's go through the classes. Eliminate all classes that you think are just too crazy. Ninja, Dream Ninja.
No warrior. There's not going to be warrior in this.
Warrior's
set.
gone.
I think there's too many warriors. We have too many warriors already.
We just cut it. Kill it.
I think it's safe to say there will not be any duplicate carryovers except for maybe Illusionist from Monarch. So I don't think we'll have room.
Warrior, Runeblade, Brute, Mechanologist. I'm not seeing Mechanologist in this at all.
It doesn't make any sense to me either. I mean, it could be like a crazy thing, but I don't think so.
What does that leave us? Leaves us with.
I don't think we'll see. Okay, I was gonna say I don't think we'll see any of like the supplementary classes or anything. I don't think we'll see like, Shapeshifter or Merchant or anything like that. Especially not Merchant. Doesn't make any sense at all in ARIA. So that leaves like Guardian, Ninja.
Wizard, Ranger,
Wizard, Ranger,
Illusionist.
Illusionist,
That's it.
and then or new classes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I feel comfortable saying Ninja's not one of those.
I mean, you would think that if they put Ninja in a set, it would be like a Mysteria. How do you pronounce it? Is it Mysteria? Mysteria set. I think like one of the things that I've just thought about the second they said talents, and I read the article about talents, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's gonna be like a wind ninja. Like,
yeah, that'd be
this
cool.
freaking like the freaking border is like looks like wind, like it's like wind ninja. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be
it just
cool.
seems like a thing.
So,
the classes, there could be definitely a big surprise there, but I think, I don't know. I would not be surprised if I was not surprised, if that makes any sense. Wouldn't be surprised if I wasn't surprised.
You wouldn't be surprised if you weren't surprised about what?
Classes. I think the four that we said, or we said 5.
Oh wait, I get
5.
it. You wouldn't be surprised if the classes didn't surprise you.
Exactly.
See, I got there in the end. I figured out where you were going in the end. That was some next level phrase. I understand it.
Trying to be too clever for my own good.
It's big brain.
But I think the classes are, unless there's some crazy stuff, I think it's not like too crazy to see any of those classes.
Yeah, I could see Bard. If we're talking about classes that don't exist, I could see Bard. I could see some sort of an Oracle. What else? They're not doing a Brewmeister class.
Brewmeister.
They're not doing it.
I don't know. They said that for Warcraft, and then they made a freaking Pandaren Brewmeister in Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
What were the other ones on the list? There was like Assassin, probably not. There was Cleric, Necromancer. I don't know. I don't really see. I don't know. I mean, there could be. There could always be any of these just random classes out of nowhere, but I don't really think so. Yeah, I think what we said is more likely.
If we're going lore wise, in the idea that like the set is all about the veil coming down, the barriers like being brought down, or coming down out of weakness, and more of the outsiders coming in, which is what's referenced in the lore book and in the lore itself. It's like people are being able to kind of move through the barrier. It's finally unhidden after centuries. If that's what the story's about, it's like defending ARIA from these basically outside invaders, then we could have a class or classes that represent those outside invaders. So in that sense, you may just get like 2 classes against 2 classes again, like a light versus shadow.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Like there could definitely be like an opposing force outside of ARIA.
So if that's the case, then we would have what? We'd have Guardian for ARIA, and we'd have, would you say
Ranger?
Would you say Ranger?
I mean, like,
could.
Where else would she be? Where else would she be from? I think it's kind of like a slam. I mean, she has a lightning bow. They mentioned Volthaven in the thing. Legend Story Studios isn't super subtle with the naming conventions. Volthaven, like lightning. I mean, Demonastary, Solana, like even the word Wraith is an anagram of Earth. Like, I think
could be a Volcor, ranger that somehow has a pretty looking bow. I don't know, a glass bow. Could be that.
I mean, that could be, but I would bet against that.
I would too. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah. So that could be the case. But
if it's those 2, then what opposes them? Can't have Bard anymore.
I think Necromancer is a good opposition. If we want new classes, I think Necromancer is a good opposition. It's a class that deals with death. ARIA is all about like life and energy and all this kind of stuff, and Necromancer is like about decay and death. That would personally to me make sense. And then whatever else really.
Wizard.
What else? Wizard.
I think it makes. I mean, not the closest. I don't want to say that. It's actually not close. It's possible that it's from Volcor. The closest regions, if we're talking like region versus region, the closest regions are Solana and Mysteria.
And then
Volcor's south of both of those. And so
where
really
is Metrix?
Metrix is way to the west. It's like
so it's on the other side.
It's like north of Solana. It's like the way the map works is like the continent curves around to the east and down to the south, And on that curve, like where it starts to curve east and down south, that's where Aria is. And then if you go the
Yeah, it's
opposite
like
direction, it starts
northeast.
to curve the other way to a certain degree. That's where metrics and the pits are.
For some reason, I thought they were kind of in the middle, like as you head over, they would be like at 12 o'clock. But I guess
Yes,
they're
yeah, they're
closer.
like
So,
11:30. Yeah, there you go.
okay. I mean, that's not that far. I mean, it's not at like further than Volcor, I guess.
Maybe. I mean, you know what?
Like
You could.
like an
He'd be a crazy story. It could be a story of magic versus science, and the outsiders.
see,
The outsiders
that's
are like trying to raid the resources of this magical land so that they can like weaponize it and sell it back in metrics.
that's what I
Then you
was kind
get
of
your
thinking about.
mechanologist. There's your mechanologist right there.
That would be crazy. That would be like the left field thing that no one sees coming. And if we are right here in saying this, we are geniuses. Um,
That would be monarch levels of pivot right there. Pivot.
yeah,
It's monarch.
yeah. I mean, it could be. All right, all right. Okay, so that's a lot about classes. That's a lot about classes and that kind of stuff. Um, what do you think the talents are going to be? Like just for Aria, just for Aria, because we were just talking about a bunch of regions. We can spend forever talking about what regions we think have what talents, but let's just talk about Aria. Um, I think I already said this. I think lightning is a pretty easy guess. I think it's an easy guess based on the Volt Haven thing, based on the lightning bow. That's an easy guess. I think you can just see these things and be like lightning. I think it might be something a little bit more esoteric than lightning. I don't think it's going to be at. Well, I mean, it could be. It could be just very blunt, like just lightning or electricity. But I think it could be something a little bit broader than that. Even if they're from Volt Haven, I was thinking we could see something like energy, something akin to like energy. So you'd have like an energy ranger or an energy guardian or something, and they channel the energy of like the flow or whatever. Um, that's what my guess is, at least for one of them. If
Okay.
we have someone from Volt Haven, I think it's going to be something like lightning or energy. I think energy works a little bit better, but I think lightning could be a thing too.
In a general sense, I kind of agree with you. I think it's the more general it is, the better. And so, with that being said, I think just saying Lightning Ranger sounds cool to me, but it is very kind of focused. So, I think they should say Storm. I think Storm Ranger or Storm
Oh,
Guardian, because then you can kind of
Storm's cool.
pivot lightning, snow, wind, ice,
Mm.
rain, all of these elements, which has already been talked about in the lore book as being controllable by guardians. If that's the
You've
case,
convinced me.
yeah, if that's the case, it makes sense for Storm
You
to
you
be
you
a talent.
you have 100%. You have 100% convinced me on Storm. Um, Not just that, but also because they literally mention like ice in the little blurb too. Like they awaken from their frosty slumber or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think Storm makes so much sense because then you can have characters from two different regions of Aria
Yeah.
have the same attribute, have the same talent. You can have the ice dude still have Storm, and then the lightning person still have Storm.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think
what
that's
was
great.
thinking. I think from a game design perspective,
Yeah.
that's what's made the most sense to me in my mind as I've been thinking about it. And then as far as like like if you just wanted a secondary talent, something that kind of goes along with the wilds, you could just say like Wild Ranger or Wild Illusionist, Overgrowth, something like that. I mean, those are kind of Magic the Gathering
Oh man,
terms. Um,
wild wizard or wild illusionist reminds me of the wild sorcerer from D&D. I don't know if anyone out there plays D&D, but like wild sorcerer and wild magic is awesome because it's random. It's like very chaotic.
right.
That sounds so cool to me. That
And
would be
so
sweet.
there's it. I mean, if you're trying to go for like a life growth kind of a thing, you can come up with some term like that where it describes nature growing and that sort of thing. It describes that in a very broad sense, so that you can do the same thing. Like this one plants, this one water, but in a different way. You know, like you can kind of give it different attributes, but keep it under the same umbrella.
I like the word wild, though. It's anytime I think about this kind of stuff, I have to think about like does this take the place of another talent possibly? And like, if Arya has wild, I mean, I guess, well, no, I'd have to read the. Okay, here's my thoughts. If Arya has wild, then what does the Savage Lands have?
Right. Yeah, that's the logical next step. Sure.
Yeah, and then I was like, well, do they have crossover talents? And I was like, I'm pretty sure they don't. In that little blurb that he said each region will have its own unique
talent.
It literally says it in the thing. Like they're gonna have their own unique talents, like to give flavor and character to the world. But I do like wild. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, but do you really need wild to describe the Savage Lands? I mean, it's literally kind of painted into the picture, right?
Savage Lands could be like chaos or something too. It could be a little bit more abstract,
or something like literally something about ferocity.
Yeah, so strength.
It doesn't necessarily kind of take away from what could show up in the Savage Lands, but it could. I mean, so they may not do that, and they may just angle that towards Savage Lands. That'd be cool too.
So the one that I was thinking of was something more akin to Earth. But
like rocks and stuff. You're talking about like literal.
Yeah, rocks, but also plants. Like Terra. Like
sure. Yeah, I can see that.
But it also harkens back to something that I also said too. Like if they make generic cards that have this, would they make it into a talent? And we've seen that what is it called? Like a rouse the ancients or whatever. It's a big old rock monster, and it's a generic. So I'm like, well, if they're gonna have that kind of stuff as a talent, probably not, because they have a big old rock monster dude.
That goes into a completely different lore thing than just being a big old rock dude. That's a lot. That carries a lot more weight with regards to lore. Yeah, regards to lore than just being a big dude. He's not like summoned by anything. Well, can't necessarily say that, but he could be. It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, he's awakened. I don't know. So maybe it's more of a generic thing because he's part of Wraith and not part of a specific. I don't know. So yeah, I agree with Storm. I think Storm is great.
I think that'd be cool because then you could you could do so much stuff.
I'm so sold on Storm. I think it's a fantastic idea. It makes a lot of sense. Watch it be something completely random out of left field, like Spirit or like Life Force or something.
Here's what I'll say.
I think Storm's cool.
I wrote down a literal list, and I'm probably going to put this on my own YouTube channel as a separate video. So spoiler alert. Everyone close your ears if you don't want to hear this. I had written down like some specific things like lightning or storm, like that sort of thing, fire, because I had predicted Volcor as the second kingdom that they'd cover. But if you go very, very like general, kind of like they did with light versus shadow, how those are so diametrically opposed, so very general, you could really have done anything. Then like life and death made a ton of sense. And if it's two different regions, one that's all about vibrant life and transformation, and then one that's all about constant warfare and battle and killing each other, then you could have a death wizard and a death assassin, or death whatever you wanted to put into the fourth category there, and you'd have a life ranger and a life guardian.
So you think Volcor would be death?
I don't think necessarily it has to be, but I'm just saying like it. I was trying to make it all work, thinking about what they could do if they wanted to pick the region of Volcor and they wanted to pick the region of Aria and have those two regions be either opposed to each other or just feature those two regions. Those could be two ways they could diametrically oppose two talents, like they did with light and shadow. So that's a possibility. I mean, very, very general stuff like life and death.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about that too. I was thinking it more in terms of like, how do I put this in a way that's not like Pokemon terms? It was like leaf versus fire, like like greenery versus fire. Yeah. I was thinking of something like that. Yeah, I mean, Volcor could be death. That'd be kind of cool. I mean, I see them and I immediately just think the Fire Nation. They even look like the Fire Nation.
That's exactly
right. They freaking look like it. Like Kano looks like a Fire Lord from Avatar. So
got the top knot and everything.
Yeah, but if they were something like death, that'd be really cool. That would be kind of like a subversion of expectations. I would guess death would be if it was a thing at all and wasn't separate from shadow. What do you call it? The underbelly, I think is what it's called. Under metrics.
The
Like that makes
pits.
sense. The pits, yeah, that's what it's called. The pits.
Yeah,
Death for the pits.
I could see
Or
that.
poison or something. But
Yeah.
I think death because there's like a bunch of like scoundrels and
I think that's where
assassins
coins come in. I think that's when they're gonna tap into coinage. Makes the most sense.
Yep.
Buying, selling, trading. It's when you get
So-
coins. That they put that in a set with metrics, and then everything's about buying, selling. Midtown Merchant's gonna have a field day. Gonna be like, this is my set.
Uh,
This is what
that
we
would
do.
be that would be the time for assassins too.
Mhm, yeah.
If it's a thing.
Assassin, merchant. I mean, you just jam a bunch of new classes in that one. Go back to some mechanologist. Ranger comes back in. I don't know. Be fun.
Yeah, with that said, I also highly do not think we'll see coin mechanics in Tales of Aria. It
Agreed.
literally makes no sense at all. It makes no actual sense.
There's no buying and selling in Aria. If you want more information, go check out the video I put out a few days ago.
Yeah, I watched it. It's pretty good.
Thank
Y'all should watch it. Especially because like the lore books are just really hard to like find and get. And
They are, yeah.
yeah, it was presented in a very good way. But I know a lot of people want like coin mechanics, but we're not going to see no. I don't think we're going to see no coin mechanics in Tales of Aria. So another thing, if we have some of these classes that we think, this is something that I don't know if it's worth a full video on. Maybe it eventually will be worth a full video on. But it's something that I've written down as part of my list of videos to do. Characters. Talk about some characters we've seen in artwork, especially in regards to Arya, and if we're going to see them maybe as heroes. This is going to be the first time it would happen. Like this, if that happens, it would be the first time it happens. Like we see characters in artwork and then they become heroes. And there's two that come to mind for me. One of them is, I think her name is Valda
Guardian Girl.
Bridak.
Guardian Girl.
Yep. I would love to see her. She's awesome. She looks pretty brutal. Like, yeah, oh yeah, I've already used that artwork for like a thumbnail because it's just so sweet.
Cranial
She's
Crush.
also like
It's a good one.
elbow,
Yes.
cartilage crush.
Mhm.
So I think, I mean, it could be another just random character, but I think it would be awesome to have Valda, like have a guardian and then have Valda. That would be sweet. That would be super sweet. I hope to see her. I don't know if we will, to be completely honest. Maybe they just do new characters and all the characters in art are just kind of like flavoring. But it would be so cool to have her.
I agree.
I
I would love a female guardian. I think that'd be awesome. I think that would be one of those moments where it was like, dude, I would prefer to play as her, because I think this has for me always been the case. I actually prefer female characters over male generally, because I always feel like when you play a female character, there's that like, oh, I underestimated that, and then like all of a sudden they just destroy, and they always feel faster. Like in fighting games, I always feel like female characters feel faster. I like that. They feel like trickier. They can go faster. They can do more hits, and I was always into that. I thought that was cool. I would do a female guardian.
For me, it's like, it's weird. I've talked about this before, like, oh man, like ages ago on this old video game channel that I used to do and do Let's Plays in. But
wait, you gotta plug the channel. Plug the channel so we can go subscribe.
No, it's so old. No.
Some people. Which one is it?
People. I'm not gonna say. People, if you know, comment.
Put it in the comments below.
Comment in DM Armada's video. So if you're watching this on my channel, comment in his video, because I know some of the people who watch this channel, who watch Red Zone Road, have seen it. I have.
I'm Googling it right now.
I have a full. It has nothing to do with Red Zone Road, like the naming conventions. Maybe you are able to find it. I have a full Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne Platinum guide on that. But getting to the male female thing, I usually like playing as female characters in like video games just because I feel that I've played male characters so much. Like almost every game has like a male protagonist, and so I like to mix it up. And I just like to mix it up when I can make my own characters. Honestly, it all comes down to looks. Whatever I can make look better. So like if I pick a female character and they don't look great, then I just make a male character, and then the opposite's true. If I make a male character and they look terrible, I do the opposite. So for me, it's like 50-50. But if I can have a choice, I usually go female. I think it's also more interesting too. So many stories are told as like with male protagonists.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit more It's a little more interesting.
It's unique. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, yeah,
I agree with that.
And so yeah, I think Valda would be super cool. And it'd also be really cool if she's wearing just like a crap load of armor. I know a lot of people are like Wanda Guardian wearing armor. It'd be really cool to have her just suited up in armor. That'd be sweet too.
I mean, like, think of the art on like Mangle or Righteous Cleansing, that like full plate armor. That'd be pretty sweet. Reminds me of like oh, what's the guy from Soul Calibur? Why is that Siegfried? And then he turns into Nightmare. He turns into Nightmare. It reminds me of that kind of plate. That kind of plate armor would be cool. I mean, that's what I would be into that.
Like the young side could have her like tavern style character, and then the other side, her adult side, could have just like heavy armor. That'd be sweet. And then the other character, I don't even know if he has a name. It's just that bard guy. We've seen a bard guy in a couple art pieces.
Yeah,
it'd be really cool to have that bard guy.
Coax a Commotion.
Yeah.
When else has he shown up?
I don't remember exactly. Maybe I'm confusing him for the thief guy from Metrics. They look very similar, but that bard guy, I would like that bard guy to be, a character as well.
That bard guy, that should just be plastered on the screen, like in old school late 90s, early 2000s clip art. That bard guy.
Yeah, like Reading Rainbow or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I like it, yeah. Anyway, are there any characters that you would... Are there any characters that you'd like to see?
Like that already exist?
Yeah, that you think would make sense.
Yeah, I want to know all about Righteous Cleansing, dude. That guy's so cool.
Oh yeah,
like got wings. Do you think why does he have wings? I want to know about that.
That's true. I assume that's really true, because there are angels, but they're not actually real. So what's up with this dude with wings? Like, my logic is here, like we've already seen angels, right? But they're angels created by Prism based on like these parables and stories that she's heard. What's up with the winged guy? Like, is he not? I guess he's not an angel. He's maybe something else. Like, I don't know. Maybe he's like just some sort of humanoid that have wings. I don't. Do you think he's from? Knows. That's the other thing. Do you think he's from ARIA? Do you think him and Doot and big armor dudes are from ARIA, or do you think they're from a different area?
I don't know, man. That's a good question. Because you also asked the question. You asked the same question of stamp authority. The dude's stamping down on like a table. It's very
doesn't look like
it's very Solanian. Like it's stark. It's not like excitingly decorated behind them. It looks like a lot of buildings, which why would you need buildings in ARIA when you're a nomad most of the time?
Yeah, and like even the cities that I can think of in ARIA aren't like, they don't have buildings like that. They're like more
cottages. They're village and cottagey, yeah. So I mean, based on those, no, but it's Guardian themed. So eventually, maybe we get a Guardian from Solana down the line. I don't know. Anyway, I think they're cool characters, and I'd like to see them. So come on, Legend Storia.
I really like what they're doing. I really like what they're doing in setting up like all these potential different characters and like from these regions. And so like I'd like to envision that someday 3-4 years down the road we have all of these guardians, and they're you have your guardians from ARIA and your guardians from Solana, maybe some guardians from Metrics that have like weird robo armor or something.
Man, that'd be awesome.
That would be sweet. I really love what they're doing with that kind of stuff.
I agree. They're laying the groundwork and they're building up the world.
I mean, I honestly thought the next Ranger would be from the Savage Lands because of that Ranger in Poison the Tips. I was like, oh, that's got to be one of the Rangers from the Savage Lands. But I mean, they still could be, right? They still definitely could be.
I mean, it looks like ARIA, but it also it's just super overgrown, so it could be Savage Lands as well. Every time they depict something from the Savage Lands, it looks more foresty and less whimsical and more just like dark fairy tale grim forest, that kind of a thing, I guess is the best way to describe. I don't know, maybe it doesn't look it.
Yeah.
The Poison the Tips looks so bright and colorful already. I mean, they're like poisoning the tips with the blood of the creature they just killed, and the blood's like bright purple. And so
Yeah.
I don't know, it just feels like a different place. That being said, it could just be, you know, like the artist and the art that they chose for Poison the Tips just went that direction with it, which is totally fine. I mean, I like the art, so I'm cool with it. But to me, it strikes me as ARIA over Savage Lands. So
The outfit is what made me think Savage Lands. The outfit looked very like tribally
yeah,
kind of thing.
well, so the mask itself is actually concept arted out in the back of the lore book, and right under it, they write dowsing, because, and then they talk about a little blurb about how you want a dowsing disc. Like the first thing you do before you go around is you get a dowsing disc so that you can read the flow.
Oh well.
So
I don't have an art book. So that is something
we
I
need
do
more
not-
art book videos. I'm gonna start right now. Let me go get the art book and start we'll kick it off.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. So yeah, I guess that does make sense then. Yeah. Send me an art book. Someone sell me an art book. I'll trade you something for it. I don't know.
You got
I
an
got
alpha box? You got an alpha box? You can get an art book for an
How much-
alpha box.
Are art books worth $5,000?
No,
How much
no,
are
they're
art books
not.
worth?
No. If you, like $500 to $800 if it's opened, sealed.
Okay.
It's like a couple of thousand, like 1 to 3, I think is what was quoted. I don't know, something around there.
That's an expensive book, man.
It is. It's one of those scenarios where it's like they could just mass produce it and it would be totally fine and everyone would have a copy and then people would love it. It's literally just scarcity because they've only produced what they've produced for LGSs. So
Yeah. Yeah. Now I'm just thinking about prices of other books and weighing it against that book. I'm like, how much is a copy of like, you know, a Fellowship of the Ring with
I was gonna
Tolkien's
say,
signature?
how expensive is Lord of the
$500?
Rings? I don't know.
Is it worth like $500 with a Tolkien signature? I don't know,
I'm gonna
man.
Google that because I love Lord of the Rings and I've kind of actually looked into that before. LOTR Tolkien sign.
You know what? That makes a lot. I mean, the fact that you love Arya so much and you like Lord of the Rings makes so much sense, because
It
I
does.
also love Lord of the Rings.
It's high fantasy, man. High fantasy's great.
Quick shotgun question about not even about Flesh and Blood. What's your favorite trilogy Rings trilogy book? Is it Fellowship, Two Towers, or Return of the King?
Two Towers, because it was the first one I read. Because I
Okay.
was dumb and I went to the library after reading The Hobbit. And I was like, this is it. It's the Lord of the Rings. And I picked up the Two Towers and I started reading it in the lunchroom. And I went, wait, someone's dead already? How did this happen?
like-
He's going
like-
to... It's like, anyway, he's like, he heard the call for aid from the horn. And he was like, I gotta go save him. And I'm like, this is the wrong book. I picked the wrong one. But I kept reading.
Yeah. All right, that's fair. That's really fair. I almost for the same reason I like Fellowship, but for different reasons too. I really like the whole adventure part. It starts getting into like epic warfare and crap later on, but I really like the whole adventure fantasy and, you know, partying up and elven cities and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so.
it's a very storybook kind of folk tale first book, you know.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite Tolkien book is The Hobbit. So, yeah. How much did you find one?
I'm looking
I'm
right
very
now.
curious.
There's a website. It's
Oh,
not.
man, I'm so
it's
curious.
not loading for. Oh, here we go. Okay, what would you guess?
Which book is this? Is it
Okay,
which book
yeah.
is it?
Let me hold on. Okay, here is the Fellowship of the Ring first edition with the original dust jacket. This may not be signed. Maybe it is. I don't know. But this is the first edition Fellowship of the Ring with the original dust jacket.
I assume it looks really nice. It's like in good condition.
It's in good condition. Only one of 1,500 printed in the UK.
Oh, I didn't know it was that rare. Oh man, I don't really know book prices. $300. Is it like way more than that?
Did you say $300?
Yeah.
If you think that's I would have multiple copies on my shelf if it were
It,
$300.
how many more zeros? Is it like $3,000
It is
or is it like 30?
$6,500.
Okay, that's not crazy.
No,
I mean,
but
that's more than I guess. But
it's
yeah,
more
that's not
than
crazy.
$300. That would be
Well,
amazing.
it wasn't signed, and it was just like I don't know how much like first edition books go for. Um,
I mean, it's very
if it
much a
was signed,
collector's item, you know.
if it was signed, I would have guessed something crazy, like close to 10, 15, something like that.
Hey, you know what? Look at this. The Lord of the Rings, the full 3 books in a box set, first edition US with the dust jackets, only 1,600.
Hmm.
That's not a bad deal.
I could sell my cold foil Grasp of the Arcanite from one of those.
I could sell my cold foil Grasp of the Arcanite. Don't do it before me. I need those books.
No, I'm gonna keep my Grasp. I'm gonna keep all my cold foil legendaries.
I'm gonna get the books.
My legendaries. Yeah, they mean more to me than money, which is both sad because I'm like, wow, they're worth so much money, but also like, man, they mean a lot. So, yeah.
I play my cold foil Grasp. It's actually the Grasp on every gameplay video I ever play.
Me too. Me too. Even though I own 2 unlimited grasps.
I just trade when I pull an unlimited grasp because I've done it twice now. I just trade it. It's problem solved.
I just put it in a thing, goes into a box, and they've all just been sitting there. So I've just amassed like this collection of unlimited stuff just in a box. Well, it's not in a box; it's in like a nice thing. But I should probably, sell those or give them away. Maybe I'll give them away. I'm giving away those illusionist phantasmal footsteps that I pulled.
I saw that. Yeah, that's gonna be exciting, man. Congratulations, by the way, on the 7K.
Thank you. I was like getting annoyed because I bought a bunch of my Monarch Unlimited luck continues, and it's not good. It's not as bad as yours, but it's still pretty bad. I opened up 8 unlimited boxes, and only on the very last, in the 8th box, did I get a legendary. I was a little annoyed at that. And then I opened
your pain. I know this feeling.
I'm like, what the I thought maybe unlimited would be a little bit nicer, but it's like, no, man. Here's nothing. I was a little sad about that.
It was this. What if they just continue the light and the shadow?
I've had multiple people ask about that.
They could. A light ranger and a light guardian. Totally doable. So that's totally fine.
So here is what I've said to every comment who has written that, which has been a couple so far. If you look at the official Legend Story Studios article about the talent system, they literally say that every region will have a different talent.
Yep.
If it's an ARIA, there's a different talent. Like, unless they're lying, basically Shadow has to be from the Monastery and Light has to be from Solana. I think that's how it's going to be. So I really don't think they'll continue it. As much as people would like to have more of the same stuff, I don't think it's going to be like that.
Yeah, it makes the most sense to do the same way. Yeah, exactly what you described. I mean, not only because they said that they would give unique talents to the different regions to kind of flavor things up, but also just because it... I mean, I understand the argument. Like, if we add light and shadow to the other classes, and it's honestly kind of what we thought would happen from the drop. You know, if they do that, then the card pool for light and shadow grows, and then you can tap into more of those cards from the hero perspective. That being said, it just doesn't jive with both the theme, the lore, and what LSS has previously stated. Just doesn't quite fit.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see more light and shadow stuff until. So this is something that I also mentioned. Actually, I mentioned this in my community Discord. We were talking about this kind of stuff, and someone mentioned this, and I said I don't think we will see light and shadow stuff until the next supplementary set. In fact, I think we'll have 2 talents here, and then we will see both light and shadow and these 2 talents in the next supplementary set. So I think we'll see support for all 4 of them, plus maybe some other stuff in the next supplementary set. That's what I think. maybe they do only talents or something like that. That's getting a little crazy, but um, yeah, I really don't think we'll see light and shadow stuff for quite a while outside of supplementary sets. I think they probably want to explore all of the regions of Wraith before we go back to like Solana or whatever.
I guess my question then becomes, are they still doing supplementary sets? When? How soon? You know, that sort of thing.
Oh, so I don't remember where I read this, but I thought I saw that they plan on doing one supplementary set a year.
I thought I saw that too, but I can't find where it says that. So if someone in the comments can put down where that is, that'd be great.
The problem with that is that their initial schedule is like thrown all off because of COVID.
Yeah.
I think they wanted to have 2 sets, and then like the winter set or the end of the year set would be a supplementary set. But it's all thrown off now, so who knows? But I know that they want to do more. I'm okay. I don't know. I'm like 80% sure that they want to do more supplementary sets. And it makes sense to add more. That's like the place where you add more heroes and you add more weapons and all of this kind of stuff. That's the place to do that, because otherwise you have weird draft environments if there's like too many, the same heroes and that kind of stuff.
1000%. And I love supplementary sets. I think it's exactly what they should do, especially if they're going to have so many disparate card pools. I think that's exactly where you would support these 2 or 1 talents, depending on what they do. I'm going to say 2 because it just makes more sense. These 2 talents and the 2 talents that we've already seen in Light and Shadow.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty slam dunk, and I also think it's a really good like design philosophy, because that way you can design your core sets to be really good for limited, and then you can also put in whatever crazy stuff you want in the supplementary set, and not have to worry about limited environments. So you can put in like a bunch of weird stuff. You can put in weird weapons. You can put in weird armor, like gambler's gloves, and just stuff that wouldn't be great in limited, but would be cool just to have.
And it supplements constructed play, which is the point, right?
Yep. Constructed play. Maybe even stuff that adds cool stuff for weird. Exactly. Yeah, like weird formats.
Yep.
Yeah.
I want to play more UPF, man. We need to play more UPF. That was fun.
Me too. That was interesting. That was very interesting. Someone recently asked in a comment if I think OTK Viscera is good in UPF, and I'm like, if you can, you got one shot basically. You just got to survive until it's just you and one other person. That's about it.
No,
if you can survive,
the answer is no.
See, yeah, you're more realistic than me. I'm like, maybe if I just block everything.
No, you you have to be really good at table talk. You have to be really good at table talk, man.
Hide the number of freaking tokens that you have.
Sure.
No, it's only 20. It's all right. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's only 30. It's not that bad.
It's not doable. You got to be able to talk your way out of anything. People next to you are like, "Hey, how many rune chants? 15. I'll throw them not at you. I'm going to throw them at them because we have a deal." Okay.
Yeah.
After this is gone, I'm dead. So trust me. I can't do anything after I launch these. I'm literally just holding a glass cannon. You got to be able to do that. If you can do that, then maybe.
I think you're pretty screwed. I think you're pretty screwed, because the way it works is that the second you kill that person next to you, then you have to fight the other person next to them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, let's kill this dumb Runeblade guy. He's got like no rune chance now."
Exactly. You don't have any backup. Like there's no follow-up plan to that.
There you can have a little bit of rune chance if you use Arcanite Ascendancy, but it's not a lot. Yeah, you'd have to make a different kind of deck.
Bingo.
Yeah, like a 3 TK, 3-turn kill deck. You can do that. You're gonna die. You're gonna die probably. But I mean, I'm the fool who went and played Ranger at the one that we did. So who am I to talk?
I think you were third, right?
Yes, I was third. Ian killed both of us.
He did, that jerk. It's because you launched something at me, and I was like, "Dude, come on!" No, wait, I can't. No, was that right? I think that was right. I don't remember.
I think I killed Jason. After he killed Louis.
Yeah, and that's correct.
Then I don't remember what happened. I vaguely remember you striking a deal with Ian, but all I remember is Ian rolling really well and then hitting me for like some absurd amount, and then me being Azalea and can't block anything, so I just died.
Yeah, the only
Um,
time he rolled well was against you and me right at the end of the game.
yeah, he was like rolled crap until like he needed to roll and get 15 damage attacks and kill us.
I mean, he's
Yeah,
probably just used like old school developer magic.
yeah. He had
Cheater.
trick dice.
Uh-huh.
He had real gambler's gloves on.
He pressed the button and then it turned the little thing on the inside. It just always flipped to
Yeah,
6. There it is.
yeah. So the last thing I want to ask you about Arya then, and this is something that I thought about ever since um, my favorite set, which is Arcane Rising. Do you think Tales of Arya will feature prominently arcane damage?
No.
Um, okay.
Well,
That's a good
okay.
answer.
Wait. Do you mean like? I guess I should ask. Can you expand on that?
Oh, my camera's getting woozy. Yeah. So prominent arcane damage meaning a class or classes that are predominantly arcane damage and therefore require you to build decks around that for limited play. So right. So for the same thing for like Arcane Rising, if you are drafting or doing sealed for Arcane Rising and you have like really bad um like luck getting like some null rune stuff, man, you're gonna get crushed by Wizard. Do you think that's gonna be a thing in this set? Like Wizard, right? You guessed maybe Wizard,
Right.
and I think Storm, if it's a thing, Storm or Lightning or whatever, I think could deal arcane damage.
Right. I agree with you there. And yes, I think something like Null Rune would be necessary if that is the case. I do think Wizard has a high probability of being a class in there, but I don't think it's going to play like Kano. And also, keep in mind, Kano's ability is what makes off the top play, and technically instant play on your opponent's turn possible right now. So if Kano's ability is not there, they have to find a way to give you the wizard flavor of casting spells in a completely different way, right? So you're not going to be paying 3, look at the top card of your deck. If it's a non-attack, banish it, play it, right? You're not going to be doing that. What you could be doing is playing cards, kind of like Runeblade, that have some physical damage that tacks on an effect. Perhaps it's like an on-hit trigger, kind of like what we see in Runeblade. There's a lot of overlap there that may struggle, that may give you problems with that, though. So, or not problems, just like too much redundancy of like, well, this is a new class that we've introduced, but it basically does the same thing as Runeblade because it kind of mixes damage types. So they'll have to find a way to give it very flavorful and unique uses of arcane damage.
I think also my camera really won't focus. I think Wizard is probably the most interesting class for me as to what they do with it, because it's so, the way I think about it, it's so built around Kano and his ability.
Yeah.
Like just to have another wizard is so interesting, because like when you think about other classes like Guardian or whatever, like sure Bravo dominates pretty cool, but like it's not like the thing that they do. I mean, yeah, he dominates and stuff, but like Kano is like so built around it. Like it'd be very interesting. I don't know. I'm very curious to see. And I'm very curious to see how the wizard cards that exist help with that, because if I don't know, it's weird. It's very interesting because currently all the wizard cards are talentless. So whatever the new wizard is, they can use all of the other wizard cards.
Right. And so you look at things like Voltic Bolt and you're like, okay, that's like dealing 5 damage and then you don't do anything after it. So they're going to have to incorporate some way to, I guess, not give it go again, or just, and probably you don't want to give a 5 damage attack go again for 2, but maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe you care. Arcane damage is way harder to deal with. It's important to note that too. So you probably don't want some overpowered way to give all those things go again unless there is some significant drawback. But I mean, if we're thinking like a vegetal, like life, I don't know, like jungle kind of a druid magic, then maybe it has something to do with cards staying in play over time and permanents lasting and getting stronger, and then dealing arcane damage as they go. That could be kind of interesting because it ties in. So there's ways to give you a wizard that also can control lightning, but that have thematic flavor.
So I mean, I agree. It'll be very interesting. I think I agree with you also that there's a good chance of wizards in the set. It makes a lot of sense. It'd be cool too. It'd be really cool to see some sort of like, I don't know, storm wizard, flow wizard. Man, I can't get over the name flow. Just because it reminds me of like, never mind. I'm not gonna get to it. Gross things. I'm just saying gross things.
It reminds you of that episode of the IT Crowd.
Yeah, actually, it's a great show, man.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched that out there, IT Crowd is really good. It's one of my favorites.
True.
Also, I don't know if you've seen it. If you like IT Crowd, I think, well, no, it's not that similar. What We Do in the Shadows is also great.
Yeah.
To watch What We Do in the Shadows. Anyway.
Yeah. Which is New Zealand based, right? New Zealand based.
It's not based, but made by folks from New Zealand, yeah.
Based in London, but yes, New Zealand created. Isn't it based in London? Or is it Australia? I can't remember.
So the TV show is based in Staten Island.
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, sorry. I guess that's not what I was referring to. My fault.
The movie might have been in London or something. I
didn't watch the movie. I wanted to.
It's a really good show. We need to watch the latest season. By the way, if you out there are watching this far and you like our rambliness, you should let us know in like the comments if you like this kind of stuff. This has turned more of like into a podcast than into talking about ARIA.
Now we need a name, and we got to call this episode 0. So keep track. What's the name?
Episode 0.
Enlightened Strike Cast.
I mean, I do like that one. It's been rummaging around in the old brain mill for a while.
The old noggin.
Untitled Flesh and Blood podcast. Stealing that name from Brian at Solarian Community College because he had a podcast called the Untitled Magic the Gathering podcast.
We'll just call it, Do We Really Need Another Podcast? The Podcast.
How many podcasts? Well, is Session Blood still doing podcasts though?
No, they're not. We're gonna take over their audience.
There's a power vacuum. There's a hole we can just fit right on in.
Arsenal Pass is pretty good, guys. Arsenal Pass that's a good podcast. You guys should listen to them. Of course, they are way more talented at the game or practiced at the game than we are. For now.
They probably are. I would say there's a good chance. Yeah, but I think there's room for like a fun, casual podcast. I don't know. People out there, what do you think? Is there room for?
I heard the Zoo Be With You. I heard the Zoo Be With You is taking over the podcast casual game. I think they've got it locked down.
Good. I know they talk. Well, actually, I don't know for sure. I've only watched like the first one. Don't sue me. But they talk about like finance and that kind of stuff. We could talk about, I don't know, casual things like art.
I'm gonna talk about finance. Sell.
Money, good. Crypto, crash, bad, sad.
Sell this. Don't keep this. Sell it now.
Wait. What if you do keep it and then it gets worth more and then you sell it later?
That's the price of doing business. You gotta separate the wheat from the chaff. I don't know. What do you say in finance podcasts? I should listen to more of them.
I don't know. I really don't know. And I honestly don't know if half the things like Rudy says are made up or if they're actual finance lingo. I don't know. He talks about like tacos and stuff. So I don't really know.
It's a lot of taco talk with Rudy. Yeah, it's a lot of taco talk. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I mean, tacos are good. I prefer a burrito. But tacos are fine too. Do you prefer burrito or taco? You're from Texas. You probably have opinions on this kind of stuff.
I'm not judging you. You can do you.
Well, so here's the thing. Okay. My partner Robin is like part Spanish, and she also has opinions on me saying I like burritos more. And then also when I say soft shell taco, she's like, that doesn't exist. That's just a burrito. And I'm like, well, fine. I like burritos. Anyway.
Soft shell, by the way, is just that's just one of those terms that just rubs me the wrong way. Reminds me of childhood and like white people Mexican food, which is not good. It's not
Taco Bell. It's Taco Bell.
It
Yeah.
is. It's my
Yep.
mom cooking Mexican food, which was
Me
interesting.
too. And
Interesting.
then Robin's like, my grandma's rolling in her grave, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, yeah. My wife is Latino, and I learned very quickly after we got married how good Mexican food is, straight up. And I was
Oh,
like, yeah, we're doing that from now on. So I
oh,
started getting pretty good at cooking it.
I learned that I'm a huge wuss when it comes to it because I cannot take hot, like spice, like hotness, and
Uh,
I'm like, all I taste is burning. It's just burning, and she's like, no, and so every time I go over to their like her parents' place for food, and they make like traditional like Mexican cooking, they have to make it like have to like make it like the wuss version for me because I can't take it.
they thought
Uh,
they thought they had to do the same thing for me, and they kept asking me, they're like, Mijo, are you sure you can eat this? Are you sure this isn't gonna be too spicy for you? Like, this is gonna be pretty spicy. And I was like, it's gonna be okay. And I would eat it, and they would like look at me. It's like, is he gonna explode yet? It's like, no, it's okay, it's fine. I love spicy food, so
oh, see, I'm
it's
a wuss.
generally been
Like
okay.
I'd be there, I'd be like, yeah, it's fine, and then I'd just be sweating bullets, like. I'm like, fine. My
Rethinking your
mouth is like,
life choices in that moment. You're like, what am I doing with myself?
yeah. So yeah, I know they have to make it. They have to make it like way, way weaker. We have when she makes enchiladas, they're like, I think they're super spicy, but I'm sure they're perfectly reasonable for not spice wusses.
You're gonna be coming to
Anyway.
DFW. We'll go get some Mexican food. When
Oh
you come
yeah,
for
yeah,
the
that's
DFW
true.
calling, come on, we'll get some Mexican. Hey, if you're watching at home, you can also come. We'll all get Mexican food. Come to the DFW calling. We'll go out to eat. I'll find a good Mexican restaurant around there. Maybe it'll be like a dive. Maybe we'll find like, hey, the best Mexican like food can be found in like the back of gas stations where they rent out like a. You think this is this? Do you think I'm making a joke? But I'm
No,
not.
no.
The
Because
back of a
I have,
gas
I have.
station, they rent out that space to like taquerias, and you go in, and it's like legit good Mexican. It's like, oh my gosh, these tacos are amazing. Gotta
Well, I
do it.
laugh because it's very similar. So I live in Portland, basically, and the best Mexican food places here are like street carts,
Mm.
street carts, and like the best like Chinese food and like Asian food here is in like there's like a Asian like a Chinese town part of Portland, and those like the dive restaurants there, those are the best ones. The best one actually that I've been to is like this repurposed like 1950s American diner that's owned by like this Chinese family, and they do like American comfort food, but they also do like Chinese food like for their Chinese food menu, and their
Hmm.
Chinese food is so good. That's like the best. Like you can go order like, hash browns and eggs and whatever, but their like sweet and sour chicken is like legit awesome. Anyway, yeah. Yeah. That's
So
why I left.
Aria is a really cool place, and I'm really excited to go there in Tales of
I really
Aria.
I really am. I really am, dude. Like I'm so excited for this set. I can't wait to see the art for this set. It's gonna
Me
be
either.
beautiful.
Yes, it is. Very ethereal, very
I'm
phantasmal, footstepsy. I'm so ready for it. I am all the way there.
I'm so curious to see what like the conflict is, right? Because Aria is like such a peaceful place and everything's beautiful. Like I really want to see like what this conflict is because I can see everything being cool, but I can't really see the conflict yet. Maybe there's conflict between these separate like regions or houses or whatever that was listed in the blurb. You know, Volthaven, Candlehold, and Eisenloft. Maybe there's some conflict between them, but I'm very curious to see, and I'm very also curious to see why it's called Tales of Aria. This is another thing that I was thinking about too. It's called Tales of Aria. Is it going to be something that's happening in current Wraith, or is it going to be
Or in the
like
past, yeah.
yeah,
Folklore.
like yeah? So that's something I was also thinking about too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say because like they threw us a huge curveball with Monarch, so I don't think their naming conventions are very cut and dry when it comes to the sets. Unlike the regions, I think the sets can be have a lot more nuance in them. Because like if you didn't know, monarch literally refers to Prism being the monarch of reality. So who knows what Tales of Aria is referring to?
Does it really?
Yeah, it says it in her lore thing, and it says it like at the end that she is the monarch of reality. And then I think someone else mentioned that, and then someone from Legend Story Studios like confirmed it. So Prism is the monarch. People are like, who's the monarch? It's Prism. She's the monarch. Yeah, she's the monarch of reality.
Interesting.
So, I wonder if it has very deep lore implications. She's probably like a very powerful character.
I mean, I'm just gonna say, if we get illusionist in this set, she'll be the only illusionist not in Aria. So, and she was an orphan discovered in a library. Embodiment of soul. I mean, come on, like, right?
That's actually a good point. I didn't think about that. Like, I didn't realize that there weren't very many illusionists outside of Aria. It's interesting that the first one that they present is not from Aria. It's from Solana. If they're all from Aria.
What it means is that she's important. Perhaps. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess.
I really wonder about like this, and not just for Legend Story Studios and Flesh and Blood, but for a lot of things. I really wonder how far in advance they plan out the plot. Every time I watch something that's a really long running series, and it either has a good ending or a bad ending, I always wonder like how far in advance did they actually plan this out, like good or bad, or they just kind of like wing it after a certain point. And I wonder about Flesh and Blood. Like I wonder literally how far in advance they planned it. I know they planned for 7 years or whatever, but like how much do they actually plan lore wise in advance? Like do they have the full story or like the full first arc or whatever they believe to be the first arc of the story?
I think so.
I really also wonder,
do, because I think they tooled the sets around it. Well, one, because you can see it so intertwined in the cards, and two, because I feel like the more that I've looked into the lore over the past week or so, the more I see these through lines that didn't pop up before. And I kept going back to the website because, like, for example, metrics and the pits, those are not in the lore book. So like if you are bummed that you don't have a lore book, well, understand that you actually have more information available to you on the website than you do in the lore book anyway. They just have pretty pictures.
Website's great.
Right. So, and there's like, I feel as though there are things that I've noticed on the website that I didn't notice before, little blurbs here and there, and I go, is that always been there? And it's starting to make me think they could be expanding it as they go right now. Or I could just be dumb and just missed it the first time around. So,
or maybe it didn't have as much significance the first time around,
Right. Yeah, exactly. True.
Yeah. The fact that they have a lore book at all tells me that they thought a lot about this,
Yes, I agree. And that is a big selling. And they've had it since the first set. Which speaks volumes to their commitment to putting the lore in the game. It reminds me a lot of when Magic the Gathering did like War of the Spark, and how they took all of the characters that they had created and all the places that they had been over time, and they basically just put it all in one set. It feels like they're trying to pull the Avengers on Welcome to Wraith, or just like on Wraith in general. Which I think is cool, because like canonic storytelling like that is neat to me, like large world building.
Yeah, small aside. War of the Spark was planned ever since I think the Alara block.
I have no clue what that means.
Magic players will know this. A long time. They planned that thing for like years and years. It was like super far in advance. I don't think they knew that it would culminate in War of the Spark, but they knew they had the Bolas, the Nicol Bolas arc starting there. And I don't know. It'll be I'm very interested to see where Legend Story Studios takes the lore and all this kind of stuff. I can't wait for some sort of aha moment where like all these characters and places come together.
Yeah.
It'll be very, it'll be so cool. Like you'll see Chain fighting What's her face?
Dorinthia.
Dash or
Yeah,
something.
okay, yeah, that'd be cool.
Or like all like Reinhardt fighting Prism or something. Like some crazy stuff. Like that's gonna be sweet. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Azalea shooting arrows at Elemental Azalea.
Yeah. Oh
I'm
yeah,
calling
Ranger
them.
battle of the underdogs. Both Rangers fighting each other.
That would be cool, man. I want to see them shoot an arrow past the other one, or like catch the arrow. That'd be a cool card. Catch the arrow.
I am so that sounds like a monk ability. I'm so excited for Ranger, man. I really hope. I really hope this isn't just like. I really hope this isn't just like. She's got a bow, but she's not a ranger. She's the illusionist. That's a fake bow. She's got an illusion bow. Like, oh come on.
You'd be so livid, wouldn't you?
I would just be so bummed. Like I wouldn't be angry, but I'd be bummed.
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
I'm gonna send a message to James White and just say, "Why no ranger?" Question mark. Sad cry emoji. That's it. Like, that's what I'll do.
He checks his text messages and he's like, "Why is Kel texting me again? It's like 3 a.m."
I do not have. No one messaged me. I do not have James White's phone number
yet.
Yet.
He doesn't have it yet.
So, Legend Story Studios. If you've watched this far, like an hour and a half into this, if you've watched this far, give me a Ranger card, please. To spoil. I want a Ranger card.
He's so audacious. He's just requesting the cards at this point.
Ranger card.
I'll take a Ranger card, please.
I understand if you don't trust me with the hero, but I'll take just a cool Ranger card.
I'll take a pirate card. No, I can't.
You gotta get. Come on. If there's a pirate in this game, you gotta give it.
Fun, man. A pirate would be fun. That'd be a fun class.
Hey, I still like the idea of like Metrix Sky Pirates. Like in steampunk dirigibles and flying shits. That's not really Wraith, but that's like a different game.
Doesn't hit me right in the pirate feels. We need that on the open seas. I just read a book it was like it's a series, and in this book the fantasy main characters who are thieves had to learn how to be pirates basically, and they sucked at it, but they were on a pirate ship with real pirates, and they used like tons of like nautical terms and like talked about the show. It was so cool. I was like, this is so cool. Like, oh man, we need that in Flesh and Blood.
Did they call each other scallywags?
No. They actually like really went like maritime heavy with it. Starboard and larboard, and like talking about the different parts of the ship and how they were operating everything. It was like really technical for the most part, as much as a fantasy novel can do. Like he consulted like maritime experts and like had to slim down some like very complex ideas, but overall it was like, wow, there were times where it was so jargony I had to like skim it and just kind of get the feel of what they were saying. That's what we need, man. We need some of that in Flesh and Blood. We gotta get some pirates in here.
Looking at the world map of Wraith, I think the ocean is like the least represented thing on there. Yeah, it's like such like on the sides.
Stop killing my dreams, man. Stop killing my dreams.
Maybe to add a little bit to the dreams, maybe once they do these regions here, they'll expand the world out.
Yeah,
beyond the ocean.
I think that's a real possibility. I think that's definitely a conversation that we can have for another time. But I do think it is possible that Wraith can be expanded. I mean, they show borders, so. Oh,
for sure. I mean, definitely. Way down the road, probably years down the road, but I think it would be cool. So yeah, there's still some hope for pirates. Small hope.
I agree. There is hope.
A hope.
I hold on to hope.
Yeah, I don't even know what class I want anymore. Monarch has shaken things up so much. I don't even know what I want. What I want anymore. Give me a good ranger. That's where I'm at now. That's where I'm at. Give me a good ranger. That'd be sweet. I think Azalea's good too. Just give me some good ranger stuff to make her better. That's also good. Yeah, I'd be happy with that. And that way I can play her and then not be like, well, I'm playing the underdog class, so if I lose, it's not that bad.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, this is fun, man. It's like an hour and a half of mostly talking about ARIA, and then like 15% about talking about random stuff.
That's
I was
the way a
about to
good podcast should be. Let's be honest.
I was about to ask you about Sea of Thieves when you started talking about piracy stuff. I was gonna be like, have you played Sea of Thieves? It's literally like a pirate simulation game.
I know it is. I want to. But I don't play video games on my computer. I edit on my computer. I play video games on consoles nowadays, and I don't think Sea of Thieves is on console. I don't recall.
Have no idea. I have no idea. I play very minimal games on my computer. I play a lot of card games, single player card games on my computer. By the way, Vault, this is another random thing. Vault of the Void is super good if you like single player card games a la Slay the Spire. It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. Nox just recommended it, and I bought it, and I don't regret it at all. I played it for like 6 hours straight when I should have probably been editing videos.
Void.
Yeah, it's super good.
Looking at it right now.
Yeah. The still images may be not misleading, but like all of the characters are animated, and all the cards are like
it's a
like
roguelite.
Yeah, so it's if you've ever played Slay the Spire, it's very similar. So you have like your starting
builder, sure.
Yeah, you have your starting deck. You choose your path as you go. You build your deck. You get passives and that kind of stuff. There's three distinct classes. I absolutely love 2 of them, and the other one I don't love so much. But maybe that's just because that was the only class I didn't win on my first run. So I won my first run with the other 2. The other one I was like, got to the final boss and it kicked my butt.
It looks interesting.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. And I highly recommend it for people who like that kind of stuff. I love single player card games. I love the lab mode in Runeterra, and I love the single player story kind of stuff in Hearthstone. So I think there needs to be more.
Yeah, I find it tedious.
But which one, like the Hearthstone or the Runeterra?
I played one lab in Runeterra when it first dropped, and I was like, so maybe I have to revisit it. I don't know. Maybe I have to revisit it. And then the hero things, I touched like the first one when they released what's his name, Demon Hunter, and
oh yeah, no, I'm talking about, well, I like the older ones. I haven't played through all the new ones yet, but the older ones felt like really fun challenges to me.
Oh yeah, like yeah. Totally, yeah, I agree with those.
Like Naxxramas and the Karazhan one.
Yeah,
those are really fun challenges, especially like the hard modes where you have to make your own decks, and it felt just like a really fun puzzle where that's what I really like.
The Boom Lab, I liked those. Those were legit just puzzles. Boom Labs.
I've been playing through those because like I stopped playing Hearthstone super early, so there's a ton of single player stuff for me to catch up on, and some of it's really good and some of it sucks. The big one, like the Rastican's Rumble, is terrible.
Yes, it is. It's really bad. Rastican's Rumble is really bad. Yeah.
I am so stubborn that I was like, I need to beat this once, and it took me forever to beat it once because I kept getting like it felt at some points the CPU is just like, you lose now. Like, I don't care how good your deck is and how good your board state is. I play something that kills all your guys and deals you damage equal to everything that just killed, and now you're
Sometimes
dead.
that happened in Kobolds and Catacombs too, and that was frustrating. But I way liked Kobolds and Catacombs. That was really fun. Just the dungeon run mode is very roguelike in that sense.
Yeah.
I like those.
I like those. I like the Kobolds and Catacombs, and then the Witchwood one enough to do it with every single to beat it with every single class. Yeah. But for the Rastican's Rumble, I literally did it once and was like, I'm never touching this thing ever again. It's terrible. It's so bad. I don't normally get salty when playing stuff, but that one made me salty a couple times.
Dude, Battlegrounds is what I really like. I love Battlegrounds in Hearthstone.
So I've never actually played Battlegrounds in Hearthstone, mostly just because after playing so much up to like legend rank and back in the day 3-star master rank, I'm just like, I don't want to play against people. I just want to do my own thing.
It
But
honestly feels like you're doing your own thing in those, which is another reason why I like them, because there's like a little bit of the I'm playing against people, but there's like most of the time you're just making your own decisions based on the board state and based on what you find. So in that sense, I really like them.
I might give it a shot because both LSV and Noxious were recommending, not to me specifically for this one, just in general, a game called Storybook Brawl.
Yeah.
And they said it's basically like the Hearthstone thing, but they like it better. I don't really know because I don't have anything to compare it to, but I've been playing that a little bit. I'll be honest, I got bored after like a couple runs, but yeah.
I heard about that recently.
It's fun. It's free. I mean, it's literally free. So if you want to give it a shot, go for it. It's a pretty small game. So if you just want to whip it up on your laptop, it's pretty easy to do that.
I just want it on my phone, man. That's how I'm at. This is the stage I'm at right now. I want to be able to take my phone, open it up, and play it on my phone because I don't want to have to sit down here and play it. I think the beauty of like a Hearthstone Battlegrounds is that I can go outside, watch my kids play on the playground, and play a quick round of that.
Yeah,
that's what
fair.
I love.
That's fair. I move my laptop between my studio and downstairs and the living room. And so when I'm editing and doing that stuff, I usually just do it downstairs, like on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also just play whatever games down there sometimes too. And then my laptop just stays on the coffee table.
Yeah.
I only really bring it up here for recording purposes. Or when it's ridiculously hot like it has been in Oregon. so I can sit here with my AC. Fellow Pacific Northwesters who don't have AC and freaking 120 degrees. Yeah.
So rough, man. I hope you guys are all right.
We survived, but it was pretty rough statewide. Yeah. Well, on that joyful note.
Well, on that downer, let's go ahead and end the show.
But yeah, this was fun. This was fun. Like I said earlier, like halfway through the episode, if people like this, let us know. Maybe we can do it again or something. Maybe we can make it into like a monthly thing or something. I don't know. We'll come up with something if people like it.
You have to hit the like and the subscribe button, though. I think that's a rule.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like.
Ring that bell.
Just do one of those.
Smash it so hard that it turns on and turns back off again, and then make sure to like it again.
Smash it so hard you trigger your crush effects. Let's go.
Make him discard 2 cards.
Discard 2 cards.
It's a good card. It's a really good card. But yeah, please let us know if you like this stuff because I think it was fun, and I'd be down for doing it again.
Me too. I agree. It'd be fun.
Even if it's just like a monthly thing, that would be cool to do like a monthly thing where we just talk about whatever flesh and blood things happened that month.
I thought we were going to meet up tomorrow.
Shh.
Okay.
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Episode 1 official with the name tomorrow. Be ready.
Yeah.
9 a.m. Pacific. It's coming out.
Whatever. If we actually have a name for this, you'll probably already know by whatever the title of the video is.
We won't have a name for it. We're not that
Probably
good.
not.
We're not that professional.
Probably not. We don't have a name for it. Suggest names in the comments. Whatever names, just go comment.
Storm Strider Cast. I had a wizard on my desk, so that's the one.
The spell cast.
I hate that so much. No, we're not. That is so cheesy. I'm a dad, but that's even bad.
Oh, I love like terrible puns. I love them. It's gotta have something to do with
Spring Podcast. No. You gotta work it in. Oh my god. It's getting late, everybody. It's time for us. Us to stop.
The best part that makes that funny to me is the spring part.
Yeah.
It's like it's a spring podcast.
Only in the spring.
But presumably it's aired like all year round.
Right now it's off season. We're off season right now. This is like British television. They have everything in series. This is off series. This is a special.
Biendo's off season podcast. Oh my god. Seasonal podcast. I don't know, man. That was fun. Well, thank you for watching, especially if you've watched this far. Oh man. Hour and 40
No one
minutes.
has watched this far. Just understand. Literally no one has gotten to this point. It's just you and I. We're just
I bet-
riffing
I
at this
bet-
point.
I bet there's a couple people. We
If-
should give them a word to say if they're watching this far.
Dingo.
That's always
Dingo.
dingo.
D-I-N-G-O.
A dingo, wait.
Dingo.
A dingo ate your baby.
Just leave that. Just leave it. No one will know.
Yeah, dingo in the comments. Oh man.
All right, I
In
think
addition
that's the moment we should end on. Let's leave on a high note. Dingo it up. Leave it in the comments. Thanks everyone for hanging out with us and watching this this fantastic first episode 0 of two people with beards hanging out and talking about a card game. It's never been done before in the history of the world. People with beards talking about cards. It doesn't happen. So thank you for stopping by and enjoying it.
One has glasses and long hair, and the other one doesn't and has short hair. Crazy, man. It's just crazy. But yeah, thank you. Thank you all so much for watching. It's greatly appreciated. And we will see you next time on our respective channels. Have a good one, everyone.
Goodbye and good luck.
We'll see you later.